Hello, hello, hello. My name is Shavariel, and we've returned for a short video. Hope you all are having a good day. And there was something on my mind. Yes, I was doing it again. All right. And there was something on my mind that I wanted to discuss with you, and that's about adoption. So, adopting out your child, I'll speak on that part because I have experience with that. And some of you don't know, but I have two children. So my first child is adopted out, and I have my second child. So with choosing adoption, of course, my situation was a lot different, but when you're deciding adoption, if you're just saying to yourself as a parent, like, look, I don't know what's going on, job is not paying already, not paying me enough. So if it's like $10 under, or even if it's like a little under $12, you just like, look, I have a child or I have children I have to provide for. Rent is sky high, and gas prices is like $5 depending on where you are, because I hear it's like $7 in California, or nearly $7. I mean, you're just like, man, I don't know what to do. And so my advice to you would be this: explore all your options to keep your child first. Okay, so explore and exhaust all of your options to keep your child yourself. Because once you choose adoption, it is not an easy road to get your child back if that's what your goal is. If you're thinking, okay, I just want my child to have a better environment, to be better provided for, so let me go ahead and give them into adoption, and then maybe I can come back and get them later on. Well, let me tell you, that fight is a long fight if you're planning on doing that, and it's a hard one, and it's not an easy one, because now you're talking about later on down the line, maybe years later, before the child even hits 18 or 16, to want to get your child back. You're going to need a strong legal team to do that. Not attorney or two attorneys. You need a fleet of attorneys who can not guarantee you, because nothing is guaranteed in life, but who will be able to take on that task and help you to get your child back. Because the reason why it's not easy is because financially, that's an expensive battle. Or if money is not a problem for you, getting the child back with you is another challenge. So you have to look at how long that child has been gone. Has that child still established a relationship with you? And what is that child's relationship with the adoptive parents? That right there can get sticky all the way through. And I highly doubt that an adoptive parent or parents are willing to say, okay, here you go, you can go on back to your biological parents. No, because they've invested money, time, and resources, and their love, sometimes love, into that child. So they're not just going to, with open arms, give your child back. No. And that's another issue. So the reason why I say, before say you're considering adoption, okay, you've gotten to that point. Well, consider keeping your child first. So have you considered, depending on the child, the age, have you considered WIC, which is WIC for young children? It's WIC, women, infants, and children. That's what WIC stands for. Have you considered going on WIC? Have you considered going on food stamps? SNAP, EBT, whatever you want to call it. Have you considered putting that child's father, or most of the time it's the women with the children, have you considered child support? Can he pay? Okay. Or if you're the child's father, okay, well, if the mother isn't doing anything financially for that child, have you considered putting her on child support? Okay. And also look into help from your family, if you have family and if they're willing to help you. And then seeking other resources like rental assistance, all of these things, they literally have on the US, is it us.gov? They have resources for all of this, including your state. So WIC, food stamps, rental assistance, employment assistance, all can be found on is it us.gov? I believe it's us.gov, but I'll get you guys the information with that so that you can consider all options and exhaust all options to keeping your child yourself. They even have, if you have issues with hiring a babysitter or getting your child into school, early childhood education, well, they have a resource on the government website for your state that can help pay for your child's school or your child's daycare. So they do have that option. A lot of these options I did not know at the time. Now I knew about the WIC and the food stamps, but rental assistance, I may have known that, but I don't remember because that was so long ago. But daycare assistance, I did not know. And the reason why it's important to know these things is because there are options out there. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be qualified automatically to receive all of these resources because you have to be qualified. Some of these things deem people as making too much money. That's the thing. Because it's just like, well, how do you deem that when rent for an apartment or a house rental is sky high right now all over the United States? I've looked into Idaho, Wyoming, North Dakota, Kentucky, Texas, California is high, Nevada, Oregon, Washington State, and I know you guys know about New York. That's just high, period. Virginia, West Virginia, South Carolina, everywhere has high rent. Okay? You have to go somewhere like Montana or a state like that to where it may be okay, but again, most of the states are high. I've looked. And so with that, you want to consider all of your options and see what you can qualify for, but definitely exhaust those options. And when you're doing so, just keep in mind there is help somewhere. Okay? GoFundMe page. Have you worked out GoFundMe? Have you created a page for that to say, look, this is my situation. I know you don't want to put your business out there, but for the sake of keeping your child and providing for you and your child or children, GoFundMe, create a page or something, to see if you can get some help that way. And what I want you to know is that if you're just like, well, I did all that stuff and I still don't have help, I understand. But I don't think you're completely ready for adoption either, unless you are just in a mindset of this is what I want to do and that's it. Just go ahead, give me the paperwork so I can sign off my child. Unless you're in a mind state like that, then that's your choosing. But if you're just going back and forth at it like, I don't know if that's really what I want to do. I want to keep my child. But if you're in that mindset, I want to keep my child, but adoption is not for you right now. That's not in the cards for you because you're saying you don't want to give up your child, but you're being put in a position for you to give up your child. And so with that, adoption is not necessarily your choice at this moment. Because what may happen is you go through the motions, you sign the paperwork and everything like that. Well, if you want to continue to be relevant in your child's life while the child is with the adoptive parents, you have no control if these people change that child's name. Like my child, the parents changed his name. You have no control if they stay in contact with you. We had a contract that said, not a contract, but there was a statement of what you were looking for in birth parents, and it said on there, would you like to be updated? You know, so with the child's pictures, do you want to be sent pictures, letters, all of that stuff? And I marked yes, you know, because this wasn't a contract. This was just to say, look, my situation has gotten really bad, and I'm just considering this option because I don't know what to do. You know, my mom didn't teach me to be a mother. My circumstances have really plummeted on me, and I've talked to my family. I brought it up to my mom. She didn't say anything. And the only response that I got out of that conversation was she didn't say anything, but you know, my stepdad said something. He was just like, we don't do that in this family. And that was about it. There wasn't a conversation like how would you get here, or what's happened that you considered this option. None of that. And and the reason why I had that conversation with my family, to those who matter, was because I didn't want to ever feel like I didn't exhaust all my options that were available to me at that time. And so I talked to them. There was no support with that. They took it lightly. Just thought I was talking crazy at that time. No, I was going through a lot. Got laid off. I found another job, but that was clear across the city for me to go to. And at the time, I didn't have a car. Now, my ex at the time, which was my child's father, I have one children's father, and he bought me a car, so I was able to get back and forth eventually. But what happened? It was far. The distance was really far. And they didn't tell me this, but they gave me hours which were outlandish. So they gave me 3 p.m. to midnight. And at that time, it was just like, why didn't you guys I wasted my time coming here. Who is going to watch my child from 3 p.m. to midnight? And I had a baby, so this was like this is going to mess up my child's schedule. Okay, midnight, so that means I have to wake my child up, get my child in the car, drive home, which was close to 45 minutes. Get my child in bed, and then I go to bed. Now, if my child is just like, Mommy's home, I want to stay up, and it's just like, man, honey bun, baby, we have to get in bed. So it was just like, it was too much. It was too much at that time. The food stamps I had at that time, they had decreased. No, the state didn't tell me why they decreased my food stamps at that time. And I was calling that office, being on hold for like an hour or more, and I couldn't get anybody. And it was tough. It was really tough. And I didn't get the support from my parents. So, but your situation may be different, or it may be the same, or it may be worse. But what I'm telling you is that it is up to you to now explore all these options. Okay, so we can do that. Hey, honey, I'm filming right now. Can we, babe, honey, can we have just a little bit of quiet time? Thank you. Okay, so I'm back. Okay, so I'm back. I'm not apologizing for being a mom. It's what I do. So anyway, but I just wanted to make sure, like, honey, hello? Hello? A little quiet time, please. Thank you so much. Okay, but I just wanted to make sure, he wasn't getting too loud, because as I was talking, I know my baby's pitch was going up. So I was like, hold on. Wait a minute. Let's just quiet time for right now, because I need to get this message out. So, yes, but I'm not apologizing for being a mom. I'm being a mom. Okay? But anyway, so, yeah, but what I did not know was how much power I had to keep my child. And then at the time, I was just a messed up person. I was unstable mentally, spiritually. I wasn't in the best mindset, and those around me had seen that. But ultimately, I made a huge mistake, and I'm paying for it. So with that, I encourage you to keep your power. Stand in your power. If you can keep your child, definitely do that, because on the flip side of that, you think you're ready for adoption, you have no idea. You have no idea. But you're going to get a glimpse of a few things. Like I said, number one, they can change your child's name. Okay? Like I said. 2, they can go back on anything you signed to say, yes, I want pictures, updates, letters, all of that. And then they can be like, well, we're not honoring that. We'll do what we want to do. This is our child now. And another thing is, they probably will forbid the adoptive parents. They will probably forbid you from seeing your child. Now, not all adoptive parents are like this. So it's only if this applies to you that this video is for. But some will forbid you from seeing your child. So even if it's just once a year, and if you ask, like, hey, can we set up something to where I can come visit, once a year or so, and they have, I'm not going to say they have that right, but they have that choice to say, no, we're not, or whatever the case may be. So, and it's hard. It's hard to know your child, your flesh and blood, is growing up somewhere without you. I don't think that hits you yet. And they say once you sign that paperwork, is what's that word? Irrevocable. I hope I'm saying it right. Irrevocable. That's it. Irrevocable. I remember that word. Irrevocable. That document that you have, that you sign, becomes legal binding. The process that I went through was completely different. But I tell you what, I read everything before I sign anything. And that's way before pandemic. I would sit there and read ingredients and all that stuff. But that situation there that I went through with adoption had me read before I sign anything. And I don't even like getting into contracts with nobody. Not a cell phone carrier, not cable, not nothing. Because in those documents, it's something in there that says, we can do this to you, the person who's signing the document, and there won't be anything for you to do about it. I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't like it. Mm-mm. So just think about that. And like I said, you wanting to get this child back, don't choose adoption. Keep your child and do what you can now, right now. Because if you think you're just going to give the child away and then get them back with open arms, no. So, because the adoptive parents pay to get that child, and then they get paid, from what my understanding is, and then they get paid to keep your child. So, it was tough. It was tough. It still is tough. And right now, the adoptive parents aren't allowing me to really speak to my child. We had an awesome experience, I want to say about 2 years ago, where I was able to have a Zoom meeting with my child. And boy, it was so amazing. And to see my child's reaction, it was like we never parted. It was like we never parted. And I knew that when they saw how emotional my child was with us talking, they probably wouldn't allow me to speak to my child again. And that's exactly what happened. The communication started dwindling, so they slowly stopped texting me as much. And then they slowly stopped sending me pictures of my child, and then everything just slowed down. Didn't even consider to say, okay, how about we do a Zoom meeting every once a year? Even I would have appreciated that. They wouldn't even allow me to send my child a birthday gift. They just wouldn't allow it. So, and it's painful for me. I still deal with it. And I know some people are just like, well, Shavario, that's a choice you made. No, it's not that simple. And it's a lot of layers that I haven't said. It's a lot of things I haven't included. Why? Because that would be in a series. Now, am I going to explain everything? No, because some of that stuff is not for anybody except who was involved. But for the sake of my testimony to you and wanting to help others, that's where I come to say, okay, Lord, your will, your way. I've gotten this from my doing. Again, I made that choice. Complex. I made the choice, but didn't make the choice. Now that's accountability, because like I said, my situation was, it was not simple. It wasn't simple. And meaning you had one party saying one thing and then going back on their word when I wanted to get my child back. And then they told me, well, there's nothing you can do. I contacted them within not even 24 hours. I contacted them the same day to say, look, this is not what I wanted. This is not what I wanted. How do I get my child back? And they told me there's nothing that they could do. I called and spoke with the owners of that adoption agency. Told me that there was nothing that they could do. Now, I thought there was, but again, me not knowing, every state is different. California, I don't know if it's still like that today, but California has it to where you have maybe 3 days, 72 hours, maybe. Like I said, it's not guaranteed. This is just from what I recall. I haven't looked it up recently. That if you sign over your rights for a child, you have within an allotted time to call and get your child back. and then they'll give you your child back if you're the birth parents. Like I said, every state is different. So do your research, do your research, do your research. And really consider what you're doing in every aspect of this decision that you're deciding to do. How it's going to affect you, how it's going to affect that person who laid down with you to have this child, and that person's family. So the child isn't just born into your family. They're born into a family. That means your family, his family, you, him, and you guys as families, okay? That child has grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins, okay? It's going to affect everybody. I didn't know all of this because I didn't have support. Like I said, I brought it up to the people who mattered and who I thought could help. And to some of those, they took it lighthearted. And I had no support. And then to others, I guess the conversation was so heavy that they themselves didn't know how to digest that. Not knowing that I was just seeking help, but I didn't know how. I didn't know how. I wasn't taught how to be a mother, but it was my choice to lay down. So what can you say? So really consider what you're doing and all the aspects of it. And like I said, this is a life-changing event. Really consider all your options to keep your child first and take it from there. So I'll do a series on this and break it down more. This was just an overview, an adoption overview. So we'll definitely get into it in another video or other videos. So you all have a good evening. I am going, and I'll catch you all later. Peace, y'all. Have a good evening.